Welcome back. My name's Chris, and this week I'm diving in with you on level 1 of my 5 levels that I talked about last week of song learning. This is one of the best skills you can do. It's the way we learn music, right? It's the way we package together things and learn them holistically. Music is very much a language. If you don't learn songs, it's kind of like learning words in a language, not in a sentence. So we need to make sure we're learning contextually in songs. If you're a beginner, this is where you're probably at. It's okay to be on level 1 for a little bit. That's what it's all about, is finding some easy tunes to start with so we can kind of put a notch on the wall. And before you know it, you'll have played many songs and you can work on feel and bigger picture stuff and the higher levels that I talked about last week. I'm going to mainly be focusing on a few tips for learning tunes in general. This will apply to about anything. I play a lot of classical music. The other side of the spectrum, improvised music. This would apply to both of those, plus just pop songs, top 40 stuff. No matter your level, here are some things you can start to do. The first thing we'd like to do is make sure we're starting with just a couple tunes, not mastering them, but getting some progress, right? I think we can go way too quickly through this. Before we know it, we've kind of lost the thread. We're not as consistent. I think this is easy to ignore and to start taking on too much and getting too erratic with our learning. Just try to learn a few tunes at a time. Of course, even one song at a time if you're just starting out. Learn a couple chords, learn 2 chord songs, 3 chord songs, 4 chord songs. We live in an age where all this stuff is infinitely available to us on how to. So much so that it's easy to almost drown in the amount of information. Make sure you are focused here on learning a couple tunes. We're trying to get some mastery with chords. I have students learn, 1, 4, 5, and 6 in a certain key. With that alone, you can play so much music. And of course, it's then finding music that you're into and it inspires you to play. Just being realistic, starting with some easier music, and before you know it, you can play more complex stuff. Another thing that I think we often miss is we really sleep on our body's ability to learn. If we just take some extra time and are extra focused while learning a tune, it will really stick. It's not going to be this thing of having to relearn it every time because you're learning so sporadic and you haven't really ever deeply focused on it, right? So I'll give an example here. There's this tune called Something by the Beatles that I really like. So it goes, so it's C, C major 7, C7, and then F. So there's these chords in this tune. It's got some more adventurous chords, right? It's got this little walk down thing in the melody. And then we have a 2 chord, kind of some bass motion, right? It wouldn't be probably a great song for a beginner to start off with. We want to start off with a couple chords. But I'm going to use this song as an example. If I am unable to really zoom in and focus on a certain spot and kind of get lost in the sauce of, okay, it's a C, C major 7, C7. If those are both totally blank to me, that's going to take some time to integrate. We need to be mindful of how much focus do I actually have? Can I really focus on a 2 chord song? Or you might be ready at your stage that you're at, tackling a song like this. This is getting into learning by ear, learning by rote, seeing how other people play it, hearing stuff on a piano and figuring out on guitar. Little things like that. If you use numbers eventually, this all gets easier because you'll start to recognize this sound. That's the same progression. It's in a few tunes. I think Kiss Me, that might go there. But it reminds me of other songs with that same kind of chordal thing going on, harmonic thing. 1 major 7, 1, 7. The big thing here is to make sure you're learning deeply. Don't show your hand the wrong way to play something. If I'm learning those chords, I need to go slowly, accurately, showing my body exactly what to do. If I had to play a tune, a really tough tune, really quick or something, I would really be mindful of this when I'm learning. If it's something really exact, there's this tune called Donna Lee that I can't play, but I love as an example. It's this constant 8th note. It's kind of like that. So, and it's supposed to go well, I say supposed to. It's often played at that speed. I think the original was about here. If I wanted to learn that, the best kind of practice would be stupidly slow, right? To make sure that my body knows only one way of playing, right? So once you kind of work this out, practicing becomes so simple to do and to see. We're just kind of showing our hand exactly where to go. Let's say on this tune, Something. If I was learning it at first, I would try to play 4 chord sections and go as slow as I need, because the slower you go, the more time you have to think, of course, and make the unfamiliar familiar. And also, you have you're baking it in. You're baking in the context, right? So that's the first 4 bars. And then we have 2, D, 5, G. You can do this also with like thinking about the information in time, what the chord is, the number or something. 6, and then we have this little walk down. Right, 4, and then all it does is flat 3, 5, 1. Right, I love that little change at the end, and then eventually goes to A. We have all these chords, right? We have to kind of think out of the box a little bit. Like, where do I play E flat? I played it right, kind of little triad. I could play it up there, depending on what I'm doing on the guitar. I'm kind of learning not only the changes, which is the chord progression, and getting all the required chords at my disposal via muscle memory. I'm also learning how to play those chords, or I'm making a choice on how to play them. Find the simplest things. Take away all the choices you need to. Learn a song with G and E minor. There's lots of songs, just those 2 chords. And you'll be amazed at the clarity this brings you. And when you learn a song, it feels like an accomplishment. It feels like I just communicated something, like a language communicates a sentence. There's this transference that happens. And you'll want to do it again, which is great. This is how you get the snowball rolling in a musical direction, where you just love learning tunes. You love playing existing tunes, learning new tunes, and everything in between, and it becomes this way of self-expression. Ultimately, when learning tunes, it might be helpful to think of this as actually practicing your focus and attention. I love this quote I found in a blog once about attention, that it is the first act of love, or the simplest act of love. And that's so great. It's so true. What we attend to, what we give our attention to, could be just our phones. It could be our thoughts. It could be the world in general. It could be our lived experience in the moment. But when it's time for music, we need to really learn how to attend to it, water the plant, right? Make these unfamiliar things familiar. The more music you learn, of course, this is more and more important. And the more you want to learn new music and have that desire, this is the companion to that. Learning tunes is such a great kind of personal coach, because it's giving you a goal. It's giving you a little package on how to do it. It feels good to listen to music. It feels good to learn a song. You can now play it. It's a new skill. It will teach you things about other tunes. The more you learn, right? You start to feel a general thing of, oh, I know how form works, and I know how keys sound. All those things that we kind of get to in level 3 of my 5 levels. Dive into quality here. 5 or 10 minutes a day of quality will always beat a lot of mindless practice, right? Where we often are feeling bad, getting derailed, getting sidetracked, and not actually making a goal of learning a tune. So challenge yourself. If you are learning tunes right now for your band, for yourself, for fun, for a grade, right? If you're in a school program that plays music, try to challenge yourself to get something out of it and realize this is music. Like, music's fun, right? I'm not convinced anytime someone can't find the fun in what they're doing musically. And it's another way to get stronger at musical intuitions. But take your time. Take your time. I wish someone told me this when I was starting out. Realize that the quality is so much more important than quantity, and your attention here means everything. You should be able to play a song so well, or shoot for this at least, that you can play it in your mind, away from the instrument. And if you can do that, you start to get on a higher level. In general, you're going to feel like your depth of knowledge will increase. Like, you'll remember weird chords. There's a great chord here that I learned from someone. It took me a while to kind of get that in my physical muscle memory, but I love that I have, and there's a bunch of other jazz chords that are really tough for me. I'm working on this. It's always a process, really learning how to focus down on just the right amount of kind of pressure. It's kind of getting our musical heart rate up just enough to burn some calories and to get better, but not so much that we feel out of control. Until next time, I'll be back. Like this video if this has been helpful. Subscribe. I hope that your song learning journey can be improved by some of these tips. I feel like I've gone through a lot of bad habits, and I've come out on the other side knowing what that feels like. And I'm here to help. I'm here to make the learning process much more enjoyable and eventually addicting. I mean, playing tunes I could do this, 3 hours in a row. Just open up songs that I know, reading sheet music, playing songs by ear, singing songs with other people. It is one of the great pleasures of life. I hope that you can transfer some of this knowledge into your own practice And next time I'll be back with a level 2 breakdown, increasing musical feel once you know some of the level 1 basics. So until then, I will see you.